Welcome to Mindflow Radio.
Mindflow Radio.
She's Jaylyn.
And he's Monte.
So buckle your seatbelts and get ready to take a trip towards reality.
You ready? Happy September, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, we made it through the summer. Here comes the fall and everything that's part of the fall this year, including the election. I think we're all, or a lot of us are feeling it.
Yeah. I also enjoy September because it's the equinox. That's probably my favorite part about September.
Okay.
And it is the time when the light is equal, the day and the night. And I think that's so relevant at this time, like you're saying, the elections and how that brings out the dark side in us.
Or the light, both. I mean,
generally the dark side is what I see,
culture.
Neighbors against neighbors and so on and so forth. And
yeah,
I think that it's so important that we do our best to change our ways and make new decisions. Change is the only constant, and digging our heels in and trying to do things the old way is maybe not the best choice right now.
Right. I mean, and like changing our ways, for me, that means just instead of fighting against the negative, maybe we just support the positive and not let hatred be part of the equation.
Yeah, that's definitely ever since, I guess I'd say ever since the Ukraine war started, I have had the goal and the mission, the personal goal and mission to end war within myself.
Yeah, there you go.
And let me tell you, it has been quite a battle in my mind. And I'd say I'm kind of winning, but it's not been easy to face my own dark side and my own etched in old patterns that don't really want me to change. And I feel like it's super, super, super key. The more of us that try to end the inner war, that's where peace is going to come. That's where
it's true.
Being able to see the good begins when we face our shadows and also at the same time feed the good.
That's it.
Feed the light.
I mean, we can face our shadows and know our weaknesses, but we also at the same time can know that we're spiritual beings having a temporary human experience and feed that part of ourselves as well.
It's super important. And, I've, like I said, this has been a goal for, how long has this been going on? 2, 3, 4 years?
What?
I don't even know. The Ukraine war.
Oh.
I don't even know. But it's been a while.
A couple years.
It's been that long that I made this mission to end the war within myself.
Yeah.
And it's not been easy at all. And sometimes the shadow sucks me in and makes me think that I'm facing the shadow, but really it just overruled me and owns me. So it's this weird metacognition challenge to be able to say, oh, well, I was trying to see my shadow, but then I became my shadow.
Yeah.
And in the process, I've been following a lot of teachers and doing a lot of my practices, and all of them talk about the importance of gratitude. All of them talk about the importance of seeing the good and focusing on the good.
Yeah.
And it's I don't think it's possible to do effective shadow work without pausing and being in the light and resting in the light and and being at peace
Yeah,
for a little
certainly.
bit here and there.
Well, and even Carl Jung, who created this whole shadow work philosophy, he says we need to address our shadow with compassion too. So our shadow is there. It's like a coping mechanism that we've learned,
Absolutely.
and it's been useful at times to us. It's helped us survive, helped us get through hard times, etc., etc. And but to give it love, but also shine your light on it and understand it. That's it, and not let it run the show. Because it used to perhaps run the show at times, and that was perhaps helpful at moments. But now, I mean, it's wherever that old saying, wherever we focus our energy, where the energy goes, no, where the attention goes, the energy flows. And if we can really shine our attention on the shadow and just send some positive energy to it and loving energy, and then that's a way to integrate it into our loving selves, ideally.
Yeah, that's been, I mean, like I said, it's been super challenging because I'll go at it with the intention of kindness and compassion and love, and then I just get swallowed, and then I am the shadow.
Yeah.
And I'm doing shadowy things and thinking from the shadow's perspective.
Yes.
And then it takes a while to even notice I'm doing it. And then it takes even longer to turn the ship around. And I know that we're all going through this. It's a collective deal.
Yeah.
There's a war in our world. We've been at war for so long. I mean, years and years and years and years.
Oh, yeah.
It's one war to the next war to the next war. And it just shows the reflection of what's inside of each and every one of us.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a profound way to analyze it. It's just like if collectively, if we have all these wars within our own minds, of course, our culture is going to it's going to exude war. We're going to manifest it. Because we're living it inside, and whatever we live inside, we create on the outside, and
it's so hard to face these things, and I'm just so grateful for my history of effort in this region, and yet I if I could go back, would I make that mission again? I don't even know, because it's been such a struggle. But at the same time, I really do feel like if I can find peace, then I will be more effective at helping the next person find peace.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like I'm paving a path.
Heck yeah.
And it won't be so hard for the next group of people who want to make peace within themselves as well.
Absolutely. And I mean, all the people who are on that path are energetically supporting each other.
Right.
Even if we don't understand that, I mean, life is not as we see it. There is a collective unconscious, most likely. And if I'm in a warring state in my mind is connecting to the collective unconscious of war. So then we're all of us around the world are like supporting each other energetically, whether we realize it or not. But the same is true with a more of a peaceful, loving state of or a compassionate state of consciousness. Then that group supports each other as well.
And I feel like at this time there's real difficulty with accepting each other. Especially right now, people are starting to put their signs out, and basically say, "This is what side of the line I'm on," and then neighbors can end up not talking for months right now,
or family members,
but it's visible with neighbors. There's a red sign and there's a blue sign, and there's all these other nasty signs against the other side, and it's just it it hurts my heart
Yeah.
to witness it and at the same time not be a part of it and kind of step back and say, wow, this country is so divided and so amped up, emotional, fearful.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, I hate the other side, and that's why I'm on my side.
Yeah.
And
tons of judgment.
Really intense judgment. The other side's to blame for everything.
Yeah.
And how are we going to heal that? How are we? And I guess it just goes back to my feeling on how am I going to heal that is to heal the war inside.
Well,
and just like, so I'm not at all focused. And, you know, some people might be very irritated with the fact that I am not focused on the politics. I know it's happening. I see it in people's yards and I feel it driving. I do a lot of driving for my job, and I see it on bumper stickers. I see it, you know, and I feel judged for driving a hybrid car sometimes. and I get, you know, weird looks from certain truck drivers. And it's just like, you know, we're humans together, and no one is going to get to know my personal philosophy on government because I'm not going to share it. And everybody can make their guesses, but most likely all wrong. And I am here for peace.
Yeah.
And I support peace within you and peace within me.
Yeah.
And that is not an easy path in itself.
Right.
There's a lot of ick and goo to get through. There's a lot of masks to peel off. There's a lot of pain from epigenetic, passed on traits and habits and all of the physical growth pains and aging pains that come with being a human. There's a lot there without even adding politics or government or any of that. So I guess to just draw it back and simplify where I'm going is I'm just honoring the equinox, and I'm honoring the light and the dark, and that we have this opportunity this month to seize the seasons and how the seasons are offering us this glance at balance between the dark and the light. We can't live without one or the other. We can't all be light and we can't all be dark. If there was only night, there would be no trees. There would be no gardens. There would be, maybe there would be water. I don't even know. And if there was only light, then there would be no time to rest. There would be no night animals. It would be like living in the summer in Alaska and all of those northern countries where the sun shines all the time. I don't think that would be very fun if there was no dark, if there was no sunsets and sunrises, that in-between state of light and dark. So, yeah, I just encourage everybody this month to pause and reflect on what is the balance of light and dark within. And can the light honor the dark? And can the dark honor the light? And can we look at the dark without it swallowing us? And if it does swallow you, do you have some tools and some friends that can help you back out? And so it's like this great time of assessing who's got your back, who do you call on when the shadow took you over, what tools do you use, and how can you honor the parts of you that you're not proud of? How can you work to, as you were saying, integrate them and let them go and heal them. And so just a bunch of contemplations for you today. And I do want to say that we've got a couple songs coming up for you, and Monte's going to share with you some tools and some skills in regards to what I'm talking about and how to have compassion for the self. And I don't know if you want to do a short introduction on what you're going to be talking about.
Yeah. Well, I'll be describing how we can achieve like the higher self, the more compassionate self, the self that's more in line with ultimately with the universe. Hopefully, that's the goal, right? And the benefits of that and techniques we can use to get there.
Nice.
Yeah. Just stuff I work on day after day after day, but I fall off the wagon too.
Yeah.
I'm no stranger to the shadow and to anger and hatred and blame and shame and blah blah.
Or as you like to say, the lower mind.
Yeah, the lower mind. And ultimately, if we look back at our history, 8,000 generations. We needed that lower mind to survive.
Mm-hmm.
But now we have. I think we're at a place where we can actually decide to be more compassionate, and we have enough water, for example, to share, enough resources to share. Everybody can live in peace and prosperity. I think. Ultimately, I think we're all destined to do that eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now's a good time to move in that direction.
So I just want to offer a little tip for you this month. And if it feels okay, if you can just bring your one or both hands to your heart center and breathe with all or most of your attention on your heart center. And watch it as your breath deepens and slows. And notice the sensation of your hands at your heart. And just be with that for a little bit. This is a great tool for self-regulation. This is a great tool to pull yourself through a shadowy experience. And this is a great tool for rewiring your brain out of the shadow being the ruler. And I've been working with this one a lot lately, and I'm so grateful for it. And if you'd like more information on this skill, this is the foundational skill for the Heart Math Institute. And I'm very grateful that I found them as well. So have a beautiful month. Enjoy the music. And Monte will be sharing with you in a moment.
Goes around again, loving, living, lend a hand, satisfaction guaranteed. ask is how we start. Let go of all that you fear. Divine love is always near. Anger shows you the closed door. Clean your mind to open more. Train your mind to open more. Train your mind to open more. We are sisters and brothers, daughters and sons. We all live together here on this planet Earth, under the one sun, one sun. I reach across the divide, see my reflection. 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 We are born, we live and we die. So let's fully play this game of life under the one sun, one sun. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now. Love, love, love. Now, now, now. Love, love, love. Now, now, now. We are sisters and brothers, daughters and sons. We all live together here on this planet Earth, under the one sun, one sun. I reach across the divide, see my reflection. 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 We are born, we live and we die. So let's fully play this game of life under the one sun, one sun. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love
So I'd like to take a minute here to talk about the higher mind versus the lower mind, the higher self versus the lower self, and how we can work with our own minds and try and evolve our own state of consciousness and why that's important. We're in a stressful time in our culture. The upcoming election, wars are happening, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of people living on the streets. So it's a difficult situation for a lot of folks, and I think we're all feeling it on some level. So why is it important that we try and individually achieve a higher mind state, our highest self, our best self? And I would suggest that the reason it's important is that as we individually improve the functioning of our minds, as we individually evolve, both emotionally and spiritually and intellectually, as we evolve that way, that collectively will also evolve. And as we collectively evolve, what does that look like? Let's think about that for a moment. As humans collectively evolve, I think we'll get away from the perpetual warfare, right? Because that's not part of our highest self, our higher mind. That's definitely the lower mind taking over. The collective low mind equals warfare, and just warfare within our families. But what it boils down to is that there's warfare going on within our own minds, right? That's where it all begins. And that's what I'd like to address. Because if in my mind, if I am at war with myself, if I'm engaging in a bunch of negative self-talk, if I'm engaging in a bunch of just blaming others, if I'm in judgmental towards whole groups of people in my own mind, then I believe, part of the problem. And yes, I do go there some of the time. It's a familiar place. But one of the reasons that we want to hook into the higher mind is that as we're able to do that, number one, we feel better, we're more psychologically empowered, we have a growth mind state or a manifesting mind state, and then we can really work on manifesting positive things for ourselves, which translates into positive things for our culture, which translates into positive things for all of humanity. And as we work together with people, as we collectively evolve into that higher mind state, then the world becomes a much, much, much more harmonious place to live for us humans. And yeah, we need to work in harmony with the universe and evolve past old patterns of thinking and behavior that humanity has been engaging with for the last 8,000 generations, right? 8,000 generations ago, all of our ancestors were living in caves, fighting for their survival. And guess what? They needed to fight the neighboring tribe for water. Otherwise, they would perish, right? So we got it in us. It's in our collective subconscious that we need this warring mentality to survive. But alas, now is the time when we can let go of that. And we can learn, we can know that through collectively working together, we can achieve happiness, greater happiness for all of us. It's a win-win-win. So let me talk a little bit about the lower mind state and the higher mind state. The lower mind state, what are some attributes of the lower mind state? Judgment. judging others. What does that mean? I feel like I'm better than others. Other people are. Just think of, names that name calling. That's a sign of judgment. All those people are idiots, blah, blah, blah. Judgment, lower mind state. Blaming. It's their fault. Their fault. If they would change, I'd be happy. Shaming. Shame on them for being so, whatever, another name. Selfishness. It's all about me. And it's like a kind of unwise selfishness, a selfishness that doesn't include the karmic reality of the energy I'm putting out into the universe comes back at me. You see, that's what's missing in the lower mind state. We don't realize that. We're just feeling like the victim stancing, and there's a level of arrogance. Oh, I know so much better than all those people, et cetera, et cetera. And so what is the higher mind state? The higher mind state, some attributes of the higher mind state are forgiveness, oneness, seeing each of us as having the spark of the divine within us, all of us. And that's the good news. We all have the spark of the divine within us. The bad news is that we're all confused to a certain level. But we can work with that. We can become less confused collectively and move forward. Some more attributes of the higher mind state. Feelings of oneness. Oh, I am one with all of humanity. Right? Even though I don't agree with everybody on everything they do, I still recognize that they have the spark of the divine within them. And who am I to judge them? We all have our own problems and issues, all of us. Another attributes of the higher mind state, stillness. Finding stillness in the mind, just full-on presence, occasionally throughout the day, periodically throughout the day. Boom, boom, boom. Presence, that would be like a peak experience according to Maslow's hierarchy. It's the top. It's an attribute of the highest state of human existence. Stillness. Love. What is love? It's oneness again. Oh, I'm one with everyone. I'm one with the universe. Ultimately, isn't that what enlightenment is, for somebody to be able to realize that? Having compassion for all. That's another component of the higher mind state. The ability to have compassion for people, even when you don't agree with them, even if they're a problem in your life, even if you see them as a threat. Just the compassion, the realization that, oh, we all have that divine soul. Okay. We're all confused. Okay. Marcus Aurelius talks about that. And he talks about basically the same thing, how we all essentially, our blood might be different and our genes may be different, but ultimately we all have the spark of the divine, the logos, as he would call it, within us. So what does that lead to? It leads to us seeing people from a different light, and ultimately it leads to us seeing ourselves through a different lens. Right? Instead of seeing ourselves as a victim, instead of seeing ourselves as less than, instead of seeing ourselves as just desperate, and we may have moments of desperation. We may have moments of the negative self-talk, but if we can also have moments of seeing ourselves as essentially divine beings, essentially seeing ourselves as somebody who is working to improve the world, improve the culture. I think it's one of the reasons it's important that we focus on what mind state we're in, is that whatever mind state we're in, whether it's the lower mind state or the higher mind state, it's energized by the collective. In other words, if I'm like really stuck in that lower mind state, which I've spent a lot of my life there, I know it. I know what it's like. The collective will support that. All the people in the collective lower mind state, all the people who are into judging and hating and arrogance and all that will support me when my mind is in the lower mind state. And social media is a really an example of that, right? if I'm in my lower mind state and I text something or I put something on social media, boom, tons of support. So but that's just the physical representation of the collective unconscious that also supports us if we're in the lower mind state. If I'm feeling like a victim, and the collective unconscious is going to support that. All the other people who feel that way will somehow energetically, I'll be connecting with them. That's what we need to realize, is that life is not as we see it. There's this collective unconscious that connects all humanity energetically. And when I'm in the higher mind collective, then I hook into that higher mind collective. People all over the world. Perhaps there's some also spiritual component to that as well. Not sure. But I do believe in the collective mind state and hooking in with the higher mind state collective. And then that is more energized. And it's tricky these days because arguably, most of us spend most of our time in that lower mind collective. So we begin to feel like, oh, this is the way. This is the only way. This is the only way. I need to be angry. I need to fight. Because that's the message, right? You attack the evil. You blow it up. But then what's really happening there is I am just part of the problem. If you believe in a higher self and if you believe in a lower self, because I do believe that hatred is part of the lower mind collective. And if I'm really engaging in hatred and acting out of hatred, which includes like name calling, just demeaning others, hanging out in my little bubble of people, and we all can sit in our arrogant spot and just point fingers and blame and shame and all that, then I am part of the problem. I'm part of the lower mind collective. And maybe it's not even a problem. Maybe it's just the way humans are meant to be right now. But perhaps we're also meant to evolve. We're also meant to evolve right now. Perhaps that's what's going on in this culture and with all of humanity. I believe so. I believe so. And how do I get into the higher mind collective? Well, there's different techniques I can use. Certainly regulating my breathing optimally, regulating the breath by, having the super long exhale or longer than usual exhale. And then as I'm breathing in, I feel my ribs expand. Breathing out. Long exhale. End of exhalation, I can even pull the stomach in. Breathing in, feel the ribs expand. You see, and as I breathe this way, what's going on is my breathing slows down. And as my breathing slows down and my breathing becomes deeper, my heart rate also slows down. And I give more oxygen to my brain. And I just naturally feel better and more clear-minded. And guess what? I feel more present. And you know why? It's because I'm taking my spotlight of attention, and instead of just looping it back into my head, thinking, analyzing, I'm taking that spotlight of attention, which I can control. By the way, this is one of the keys to feeling empowered, is being able to control your own thoughts, your own mind, the foundation of your life. So I take my spotlight of attention and I bring it down to my lungs. And then I feel my ribs expanding as I'm breathing in. That's where my spotlight of attention is. Then I'm exhaling, lengthening that exhale. At the end of the exhale, pulling the stomach in. So breath regulation can lead to the elevated mind state. And also, what I'm talking about is regulating my own thoughts as well. So instead of just thinking, ruminating, hate, negative self-talk, hate, instead of that kind of pattern, right? I go into a place of just stillness occasionally as I'm focusing on the breath. Again, my spotlight of attention is I'm taking it away from the ruminating mind and putting it on my body, on my lungs. Another way I can use that spotlight of attention and put it on my body is I work with postural awareness. I regulate my posture as I'm standing. I make sure my feet are underneath my hips and both my knees are soft. My head is up, my heart is forward. I have good posture. So then I'm taking my spotlight of attention and I'm focusing on my posture. You see? And they've done studies on posture, and good posture translates into an emotional state where we feel more confident. So it's a worthwhile practice, postural awareness, postural regulation, along with breath regulation, working with the body to get into the higher mind state. Because as we work on the posture, I feel more confident. And again, I'm taking my spotlight of attention and I'm putting it on my knees and on my heart and bringing my heart forward. My head's being pulled up. You see, so I'm finding moments of stillness in my mind. Boom, 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 periodically throughout the day. Instead of just ruminating the entire day. And it's a lot of us get caught up into the habit of rumination along with just massive amounts of screen time and scrolling. And I've been there many, 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 many times. So I know what it's like. And it doesn't feel good. And it leads to the lower mind state, certainly. So we learn to regulate our breath. We learn to regulate our posture. And we also want to regulate our thoughts, which is important because we want to take control of our thoughts. Marcus Aurelius talks about that as well. Certainly we must take care of our minds, our thoughts, and notice. If we just notice where our thinking is at, that's a big step in the right direction. So noticing the thoughts, metacognition, cognition of cognition, mindful metacognition, mindfully watching our thoughts, and from a discerning and scientific perspective. That alone disempowers the thoughts. That alone helps us evolve greatly because we begin to notice old patterns and habits. Oh, I'm in the habit of negative self-talk. Oh, I'm in the habit of blaming others. Oh, I'm in the habit of hating people. Oh, I'm in the habit of, whatever it is. We have some negative habits that we most likely engage with. We will also notice positive patterns. Oh, I'm being compassionate. That's a positive pattern I notice, Oh, I'm thinking clearly. Oh, I'm coming up with solutions to make the world a better place. That's obviously a positive mind thought. So we want to work on weeding out unproductive patterns of thinking and adding productive patterns. So we want to watch both the quality of our thoughts and the quantity. Because if we're ruminating, if we're not giving ourselves any time for space in our minds, if we're not just connecting to that place of awareness that transcends the intellect, that's what this awareness is. You transcend the intellect and there's quiet in your mind, okay? If we don't get there, the mind's going to be agitated no matter what, right? And if we get caught in these negative thoughts, then the mind's going to feed on that, and then we will definitely be stuck. We'll either be stuck in self-hatred or we'll be hating others, or we'll just be feeling insecure or whatever it is. The lower mind state feeds whatever emotions the lower mind state feeds. So we work on regulating the breath. We work on regulating posture. We work on regulating our thoughts. All right. So then we're working with the body and the mind, right? And then the body and the thinking process. And another practice you can throw into the mix is if you are spiritually inclined, if you believe you do have a soul, kind of remind yourself of that. Remind yourself that you are a spiritual being having a temporary human experience. Let that be one of the patterns of thought that keeps reoccurring in your mind. And if you're able to get there, and if you're able to see that in other people as well, boom, 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 then you're naturally going to feel more centered and balanced. And perhaps, if it's real, you'll be aligning your mind more effectively with reality, with the Tao, with the universe, with the God mind. We want to align our minds with that. And in the Tao Te Ching, it says you get in harmony with the Great Mother, which is the Tao. You get in harmony with the Great Mother, then the Great Mother is going to take care of you. Aha. Okay, so there is a reward here in hanging out in that elevated mind collective. You begin to feel like the universe is supporting you at that point. And you'll notice, just pay attention. If you can get there, notice just how things beyond your control seem to work out. It's like, oh, wait, something's happening here. It's worth experimenting with, at the very least. Try and get into that elevated mind state. Try and hang out there and then see how that feels and see how the universe responds to that. That's the basics of Hermetics. And the Kabbalion, which is an ancient Egyptian mind and manifesting philosophy, is that if you can align your mind vibration with the universal mind vibration, guess what? Then you have more power to manifest positive things in your life. According to Hermetics, the God mind, God vibration, is the foundation of everything. So all matter, what's behind it? Vibration. What is that? It's God consciousness, according to Hermetics. Creating everything. God vibration, God consciousness. So, and if we can take our finite minds in these little brains of ours, if we can harmonize our vibration with the God mind vibration, then we start hooking into the power of the universe, which is intriguing. And I think valid. I believe it's valid. So I support each and every one of you in giving this a shot, working with breath regulation, working with postural regulation, working with regulating your thoughts, being choosy with where you send your spotlight of attention, being the effective director of your spotlight of attention, and noticing when you're caught in a negative eddy, a negative rumination, and to try and bust out of that by first of all, you notice it using your metacognition, then you go into breath regulation, then you go into postural regulation, then you drop in some ideas about you being a soulful being, and see what happens. I mean, there's a chant that I say, which I'll say quickly now, but I try and say this as much as possible, and it seems to help align my mind with the universe. And what it is my soul is me, my body is my vehicle. My soul is me, my body is my home. My soul is illuminating, my soul is indestructible, my soul is me. My body is my vehicle. My soul is me. My body is my home. My soul is illuminating. My soul is indestructible. My soul is me. My body is my vehicle. My soul is me. My body is my home. My soul is illuminating. My soul is indestructible. My soul is me. So give that a shot. Try and say that. See how it affects your state of consciousness. See how it affects your energy. See how it affects your just how you're feeling. Use all these skills as emotional regulation skills. The idea of training the mind, training the body, training the breath, training your thinking is that the better you get at it, the more empowered you're going to feel, right? And from a psychological perspective, the more empowered you feel, the less anxiety you're going to have. The more empowered you feel, the less depression you're going to have. Give it a shot. It works. It takes effort, but it's worthwhile. It also takes effort to sit there and scroll on your phone all day. Even though it's going to happen unless we work against it because it's the pattern. But the whole idea is here we're creating new patterns. We're reprogramming our minds, our subconscious minds. We're coming up with a new procedural memory. We're coming up with a new default mode network, a new kind of, this is the way it is kind of place, a new vibration that we can, once we're there, I have to admit, I'm not there a lot of the time, but I know it's there for me. And I know I just have to be moderate, with my screen time. That's a big one nowadays, because I feel like 99.9% of us are. It's not like if we're addicted to our phones, it's how addicted are we, right? And sure, some people don't have phones, that's great. Some people aren't addicted, but most of us, I think, are. But it's a great opportunity to try and push back on that addiction, push back on the compulsive usage, and make the phone work for you rather than you working for it. You see, you achieve a state of freedom. That's what ultimately we're talking about, is becoming more free in our thoughts, which leads to more freedom in our behaviors, which leads more freedom in our life, which leads to more freedom for all of humanity if we can collectively move in that direction, which I think we're destined to do. And perhaps now's the time for us to take the necessary steps to move in that direction. So again, for me, the necessary steps are postural awareness, breath regulation, mind regulation, and soulful perspective. And I combine all those practices together and boom, I naturally feel more empowered. Boom, I naturally have less anxiety, less depression. Boom, I feel more empowered. And I feel like the universe is on my side at that moment when I'm engaging on that level and creating the higher level. I'm working with my higher self. I'm developing a higher vibration at that moment. And this is not easy, but it's very worthwhile, worth the practice. My suggestion is to just gamify it, give it a shot, see what it feels like. You'll be gaining energy chips or manifesting chips the more you practice this. Just frame it that way. Okay, the more I can do this, the more I can regulate my breathing, posture, my mind, my thoughts, my perspective. The more I can regulate that, the more energy or manifesting chips I'll be accumulating. So let your mind wander. What would I manifest? What do I want to manifest? Positive things for myself, my family, my culture, my tribe, and all of humanity. Compassion for all. We got this. Thank you for listening. I hope you're enjoying the music. Peace and love to you all.
Here we are in this moment, content with what is. this moment, content with what is. Content with what is.